there. Today I'd like to introduce you to the key of F, which includes that big bad B flat chord. I'm going to give you a couple opportunities here to try that chord and get comfortable with it on your fretboard. I know it feels kind of intimidating and overwhelming for anybody new to it, but learning this shape is really, really beneficial because it allows us to play almost any chord up the neck with that particular shape, and it just gives us lots of versatility when it comes to songs that we're going to tackle next. So join me for the fun today. The key of F starts on our F chord as our 1 chord. B flat is going to be the 4 chord, and C, or C7 as I like to play, is our 5 chord. Let's focus here in this video on the B flat chord, and then we'll get to putting it together with those other chords in our next couple of videos. But what we're going to do here is go at it a couple different ways, and you see what works best for you. One way is to start with the half bar. So I'm going to take my index finger, put it on the E and the A string on the 1st fret. And oftentimes the key to a bar or a half bar like this is where you put your thumb. So I'm going to turn my instrument like this. And one thing I really want to avoid is being exactly across the fretboard from each other, because that's going to create too much pinching in your hand. I like to offset it a little bit so that I push a little bit with my thumb and a little bit with my index, and then there's this sort of natural tension that comes from pushing off it from an offset position here like this. The other thing is you may feel good with your thumb perpendicular to the back of the neck, or you may feel better with it more parallel. Everybody's hand is a little different. Play around with that, and again, see which gives you the best grip for the least amount of effort, right? If you really have to crank it on there, that's probably not a good position for your thumb, right? And this is the position that's going to stay. So find a comfortable position for your thumb and your index, and then from there, make sure that your wrist is between your instrument and you and that it does not move. Your fingers are going to do the rest of the job here. I'm going to reach my middle finger across to the 2nd fret of C, and then my ring finger even further to the 3rd fret of G. And I want to make sure that in adding those fingers, I've not moved any other part of my hand, especially not jutted my wrist forward. It's something we often want to do to overcompensate a little bit or to compensate for what we think our fingers can't do. But I assure you they can. They can stretch out. And so just as a way of reminding them, because sometimes they're a bit obstinate and they can say, no, I can't do that by myself. Of course you can do it by yourself. Hold that position there with your index and your thumb and just practice stretching your fingers out and pulling them in. Stretching them out, pulling them in, and keeping this position as still as you can. Then try moving that middle finger to the 2nd fret of C. Give that a strum and make sure you've got a good grip here. There we go. I had to reset that for a moment. No buzzing. And then same thing from this position to adding the ring finger, reaching that across. And feel free to shake your hand out in between, especially if this is new to you, building new muscles. You know, the key is to try little bits of practice as frequently as you can. Don't sit down once a week for an hour. That's not going to help you. Just little bits and pieces. So you can try it from that perspective, right? Or from that approach, starting with the half bar and then adding your other fingers around. The other thing you can do is start without the bar. Start with what I would call, I believe this is a B flat major 7 chord, where I don't have any bar. I just have my fingers, my index is on the 1st fret of E, middle's on the 2nd fret of C, ring fingers on the 3rd fret of G, and the A is open. And again, finding a good position for your thumb, I often bring it down to be opposite my middle or my ring, not opposite my index finger. Again, it can be more parallel, it can be more perpendicular, depending on what feels most comfortable for you and what allows you to keep, again, your wrist between the instrument and you. Don't let it jut out, right? So whatever that position is for you, from here, hold these fingers right where it is and do what you need to do with that index finger to bend it back a little bit for the half bar. And then back to your B flat major 7, bend it. And again, adjust what you need to do in your wrist side to side, not forward or backward, and adjust your thumb as needed. I find that I move my thumb just a little bit. When I go from my regular, I'm kind of more, for my regular B flat major 7, I mean, without the bar, I'm opposite here, more perpendicular. When I push this down, I move it to a little bit of a 45-degree angle to catch that index finger. So again, playing around with that and going back and forth. That's your second option for finding your B flat. Your third option is to ditch the half bar entirely and say, I'm just going to feel so much more comfortable with a full bar. And the nice thing here is that you don't have to actually pressure the full bar on the first fret because your middle and your ring are going to take care of that C and G string for you. So all you have to do is kind of focus here on your knuckle to catch the first fret of the E and the A string. That still takes some getting used to as well. You want to make sure you've got a nice straight finger and that you overshoot the fret with your index. Don't pull it back. Don't feel like just because you've gotten to the end here, you can't push your finger across. Push it. It's going to help your fingers here get to a comfortable position, and it's going to give more strength here to your knuckle, which is what has to hold on to the E and the A string anyway. All right? So that's another approach. Three ways you can approach this B flat chord. And again, as I said, practice in little snippets as frequently as you can. So 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes on your lunch hour, 5 minutes before you go to bed. Perfect. Your brain is going to love that because then it's going to go to sleep at night. It's going to download that all through. And the next day it's going to feel a little bit easier. Or maybe in the next couple days. You never know how long it's going to take our brains to get used to something new. But as I said, small durations more frequently are going to be your best bet for helping your brain download that, helping your hands get used to it, and build the strength as well. When you are ready, we're going to put this chord into one of my favorite old tunes, King of the Road. So I will see you there. Enjoy your practice in between. Have fun.